Welcome back to the Rich Eisen Show. She's a contributing writer for ESPN Magazine and the author of the bestseller, Best Team Money Combined, the strange saga of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Back on the Rich Eisen Show. Molly Knight, good to see you, Molly.
Thanks for having me back.
You bet. Thanks for coming on. So you could have come on, in a funereal situation here in Southern California. Instead,
yes.
There is still hope. What happened last night? What was at stake last night for the Dodgers, Molly?
Don Mattingly saved his job, and Kershaw saved his legacy, really. And I know that the narrative has been that he can't pitch in the postseason, and I understand why. Mm-hmm. But he did it last night. He did it on the road in an elimination game on 3 days rest, 7 innings, 1 run, 1 mistake pitch, really. He was in control the whole game, and now the Dodgers play Game 5 at home tomorrow. Yeah,
and in this book, Best Team Money Combined, so many great stories about Kershaw. You've gotten to know him very well. The conversation always about him is he's too hyped to pitch.
Right.
What goes through the minds and the temples of one of the great left-handers of our generation?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's too hype, but if it's too focused, it's too maybe just worked up to pitch. Yesterday, I heard from players that he was like, they'd never seen him like this before.
Like what?
He was talking to guys before the game. Normally, he never makes eye contact. He was joking. He was in a good mood. He's talking about fantasy football. He's running, yeah.
He was?
Yeah.
Anything, do we know the details of his
fantasy
fantasy football
fun,
team?
just joking, just normal and relaxed. Guys said they'd never seen him this relaxed at the start before.
Right.
And then he's running around the dugout, pumping people up. That never happens either before the game.
Right.
So he was just in a different mindset. I don't know what happened, but I really love that because I love it when people like Clayton Kershaw look like they're having fun doing what they do.
Right.
I think it's a heavy lies the crown situation, and
Right.
I think we saw in April and May he just looked miserable. Even when he was doing well, he just looked unhappy. So it's great to see.
Yeah, maybe his fantasy team is like the Utley uprights with the avatar Utley sliding with his feet in the wrong direction, like up, and it's good,
Yeah, maybe he won his matchup on Monday. Maybe he's just feeling himself.
He could have been a winner.
Maybe that was the reason why this happened.
Why wasn't Utley playing in New York?
He's not the starting second baseman. He's been up with the team now for about a month, and Howie Kendrick is better. I think he would have come into that game in Game 3 had the Dodgers been in it. I think he would have come in to pinch hit. But Mattingly's not going to put him in there to wear a fastball off the back, in the 7th inning of a game down 7 runs. He's not going to do that.
But why? He was 6 for 18 lifetime with a home run against Harvey. And I know Kendrick is a guy who's got some serious chops in the postseason and is a big game player. But a lot of people were wondering, why didn't Mattingly push that button in Game 3? Was it the environment? What was it, essentially?
Honestly, I think he would have done it. I don't think he's afraid of it. And we're talking about a guy who played in New York for all of his career under Steinbrenner and knows the atmosphere and loves it. I just think at the end of the day, he's looking at those 2 hitters, and Kendrick doesn't have a problem against righties. I think he just thought, you know what, Kendrick gives us a better chance to win today. I'm not gonna get goaded into doing this just because they're gonna say that I'm a wuss or whatever if I don't. Because at least, like I said, he's hit 200 and his on base has not been much better. So
Molly Knight, The Best Team Money Can Buy is the book. Go buy it right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Why do people here have such little confidence in Don Mattingly's button pushing? Well, why every time he pushes a button, people look through their fingers like it's a horror movie that they're about to see unfold?
In 2013, in the playoffs especially, he wasn't very good. I believe he cost them 2 games. I've been a huge defender of Don Mattingly. I think I know he's a great man. I think he's a good leader. He's calm. He doesn't alienate guys by screaming at them. I think this generation of player doesn't respond to that, quite frankly. That's why I think you're seeing guys like Joe Madden really have success. And he's a little bit slow with the strategy sometimes. But that being said, he had a front office that had one metrics guy, one sabermetrics guy, when this new ownership group came in, the fewest in baseball. Now he's got these smart guys who are telling him all about how to employ shifts, spin rates, how to evaluate players based on exit velocity of hits. He seems to be adapting. I still think he probably would have gotten fired. And he might, if they lose tomorrow, he might get fired.
So you think his job's on the line?
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
Thursday night?
I think he's a good man, and I think he gets along well with ownership and probably the front office. But the reality is this payroll is over $300 million, and you've got to advance past the division series with that kind of money.
I know that, but it's not like this roster doesn't have holes. There's some serious holes, including we saw that on Monday night. Who's going to be, if they advance?
Right.
Greinke and Kershaw can't pitch every game of a 7-game series potentially against the Cubs.
It's true. They lost Hyun-Jin Ryu and Brandon McCarthy. Ryu before the season started and McCarthy in April, and those are huge losses. and they didn't. Frankly, they didn't really replace them. They kind of tried, and I guess on a wing and a prayer, hoped that Matt Latos and Alex Wood would do it.
Didn't.
But then again, look at David Price, look at Cole Hamels, look at Johnny Cueto. Those were the three big pitchers in the trade deadline, and Dodgers didn't get any of them, and they've scuffled in the postseason. I mean, they've been all right, but none of them have been the lockdown dominant starter that people expected. David Price isn't even pitching in Game 5 because they don't think he's their best option. I mean, how crazy is that? They just pitched him last game in a game that was meaningless, and now they have no lefties even out of the pen. It's crazy.
Well, they needed the Blue Jays needed it to force the Game 5. I guess
it's true, but the game they were winning by a lot of runs. You know, they had a significant or a comfortable lead. It just seemed a little bit crazy to me. We're talking about pitchers who choke, and David Price doesn't get that one. Like, he's not even starting that game.
I agree with you. It was, an interesting selection to try, but I guess the backs were against the wall. I'm here with Molly Knight here on the Rich Eisen Show. So suss out for me how you think Game 5 is going to look here in the Ravine coming up Thursday.
I think the Dodgers, obviously, whoever wins the last game has the momentum, but I think there's daily momentum. I think if deGrom can go out and do what he did, and it's a little bit scary because, 2 years ago, the Dodgers were snuffed out of the playoffs by a rookie named Michael Wacha. He came out and shut them down in Game 2, I believe, or Game 1. I forget which one it was. And then he came back again, Game 2 and Game 6. And he did it twice in a row. And sometimes rookies, young guys have the advantage. We're seeing that with the Cubs. We're seeing how they don't have that fear. He doesn't have the Mets stink on him. He doesn't have years of failure. He doesn't have the ghosts and the failures and all that.
I hear you.
He's just out there having a good time and trying to do his best. And I think he'll be tough. We know what Zach Greinke's going to do. He doesn't wilt under the bright lights. He'll go 7. He'll give up 2 runs or less. And it's just a question of if they can hit deGrom. If they can, they're going to win. And that's it.
I got Molly Knight here on the program. Which team, Mets or Dodgers, do you think is better matched up against the Cubs for the championship series?
The Cubs look tough, and they're going to have an entire nation behind them. I don't know. I really don't know. The Cubs didn't hit Kershaw or Greinke particularly well. But man, you've seen the way that deGrom and Syndergaard have thrown in this series. The Mets are tough. They're really tough. The Dodgers haven't faced they've faced like 1 or 2 average pitchers this whole season. I mean, this whole series.
Right.
The Mets are crazy good.
They are. And if Cespedes can keep hitting like that, but you're right, there is a whole country behind the Cubs. And it's interesting, with the Cardinals now out, somebody is going to break a World Series streak that they can't wait to break. As a matter of fact, the team currently still in it, the franchise that's in it that has had a more recent World Series title, are the Blue Jays.
Blue Jays, 22 years.
Who had one of the longest postseason streaks to just make it.
I know, the Blue
this
Jays
year that broke up, just making it.
Yeah.
And yet now suddenly they're the team with the most recent World Series title on their docket. It really is amazing how wide open this is right now.
The Blue Jays have sat in that division in the AL East and watched the Yankees and the Red Sox every year, and then the Rays come out of nowhere with no payroll, and then they go to the World Series, and then the Orioles start to get good again. I mean, it's been a nightmare 2 decades for them. And yet they've been there the most recently, which is like, whoa. I mean, you can't say, oh, don't root for the Blue Jays because they've been there. It's like, no, they haven't.
Well, they also got guys that they're fun to root for, like Donaldson's fun to root for.
Yes.
Tulowitzki and
David Price. Stroman, look at that kid. He's out there. I worry about his emotion being too up, but I love him.
That's why he's out there today.
Yeah.
Do you want to make a prediction on the ALCS before I let you go? Who do you think? Who wins the Game 5s tonight, Molly Knight? What do you think?
I think the Astros are going to win, and I think the Blue Jays are going to win. And then I think the Blue Jays are going to make the World Series.
Blue Jays versus who? I can't.
Well, I can't.
I know you can't do that. So it's Dodger Blue versus Toronto Blue Jay?
Of course.
Okay.
But if it's not the Dodgers, it'll be the Cubs.
So, the Cubs right now. It's the power of love, right, Chris Law? It's the power of love.
Wouldn't that be wild if that happened? I just heard yesterday that was the year, and I don't know where I've been, but in Back to the Future.
Back to the Future 2. Said it was 2015.
Gray's Sports Almanac.
Is that what was it?
Gray's Sports Almanac.
Okay.
Was that just the year they picked that seemed like this crazy futuristic, like we'd all be flying around in?
Future.
You can't get into the head of Doc Brown.
There'd be flying cars at that point as well.
The flying DeLoreans, I believe they were out there. Sure. Oh yeah.
They're going to leave that ball that Schwarber hit on top of the scoreboard.
It's truly unbelievable. And Theo Epstein, I mean, your guy from Boston, it's again. They did it. He's done it again.
What if the same guy breaks both curses?
He's a Hall of Famer.
Right?
I agree.
No doubt about it.
Right. Well, are there any other curses that need broken? Because he could be just like a Ghostbuster.
We gotta
You
think
know,
about
like he
this.
could be the baseball, the sports
The
Ghostbuster.
Kennedy curse.
Del Tufo's drops. I mean, that's
Unbreakable. That's a curse that cannot be broken.
never.
The best team money can buy. Go buy it right now. Molly Knight, thanks for coming in and sharing your thoughts on this big October moment right now.
Yes.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having
Enjoy
me.
Game 5. We'll be back with more here on The Rich Eisen Show. 844-204-RICH. It is the power of love, not only maybe for the Cubs, but clearly in the Law household, now that they're expecting.
Hey now.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.